Alright, time for some festive cheer. I'm going to play this one for you and then we'll break it down in a sec. Here we go. Then, so let's have a look at what's going on. So we're in 4/4, nice and happy and friendly, and you've got 2 crotchets to start with, followed by a minim. Now I know that's not very obvious, but I promise that's what it is. If you play it in 3/4, it's going to sound weird. So you're going to go, first off you got your 2, and your 0 is this string. I'm going to bring this hand up so you can see what's going on. I'm just plucking them together, as if I was playing a chord, basically, the chord of G. So you're just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't worry if you get a little bit twitchy while you're doing that, because you might want to just keep going. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that still sounds nice, so that's fine. That's the time when you'll find it sounds clashy if you accidentally hit it a 5 and a 0 in that third bar, but it's all good. And it's essentially a G, so if you want to, you can put that one down. Don't feel you have to though. Alright, last bar then of that top line. We're going into a C. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or you could go T, T, dump, T. So one more time, you got a nice dump T rhythm there, crotchet followed by the quaver. T, T, dump, T. Will carry on this time, so this one's going to come off. Now don't let that 0 with the 2 mess you up. If that's irritating you, just get rid of it. You could even put it on the 3rd beat if that makes more sense to your fingers. I've wrestled with it this morning. Weird, isn't it? The simplest thing, but sometimes that can really trip you up. So if it's tripping you up, get rid of it. You don't need it. It's not the tune. The tune is 3, 2, 2, 2, 2. Okay, so one last time, just that bar. So here we go. 3, 2, 2. And you'll notice I alternate pick with the 2, 2. Just so I can get the rhythm nice, because that's essentially coffee. We've got a bar of 3 T's and a coffee. So it will go T, 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 coffee. And that helps you get the right rhythm. Carrying on then, we're still this shape. Okay, and again, you can kind of hear they got creative. They just wanted to hit 2 strings at the same time, and that's okay. You could just go, and that will still work. So don't worry too much. As long as you got the tune ringing through, that's the important thing. So the last bar of this first section is a bunch of minims. And again, I know it's not obvious, but hopefully you're starting to see the patterns now with the software I use. So you've got a 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then you'll notice that this little 2-bar section is bracketed a 1. That means this is the first time we've done it. That's the first ending. Then we got double dots at the end, which means we repeat. So we go back and we do all of that again. I'm speeding it up. Don't worry, you don't have to. then once we get to that point, bar 6, we're going to skip over number 1 and we're going to go over to number 2 because that's the second ending. And we're coming up to our 5 and our 0 together. You can take your time here because I know this is slightly strange for a lot of players because suddenly we've got 2 notes at the same time that isn't an obvious chord. So you've got your 5 and your 0, easy enough, and then I like to use my index and my middle finger for this 3/4, and then lift the index and then come over to the 5 and the 0 that way. But you find what works for you with your fingers. You might prefer that. But you can see I don't start to get inaccurate when I do it that way, but that's okay. And you can afford to slow down here, seriously guys, whenever it's the end of a phrase, and even, well, especially if it's tricky, you can have a little slowdown. We call it a rit in music, a ritirando. I'm probably saying it wrong because I'm not Italian, but that's normal. You slow down at the end of a phrase just to give it a bit more impact. You'll notice I did that when I played the whole thing through, just to make the ending even more impactful. So that's the first section. On to the second then. Here we go. So again, you got things together, but it's not too bad, this one. Nothing as bizarre as the first one. So bar 11, we carry on, we're on the 3rd line down. And I'm getting ready. You can see this is here, and you're probably thinking, but she's not playing the 2 yet. Why is she doing that? It's so that I don't get lost. This is going to help me navigate. So I'm thinking 2 zeros together. Over to this 2. Alright. And again, if I'm there, if I accidentally hit the wrong, or hit too many to start with, it doesn't matter too much. If I do this, then that's a bit ugly. So it's another reason to have the 2 down. That said, still don't try and hit it, you know? Okay, so first bar's easy enough, or bar 11. This is the one where you need to count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, or you could say sponge, if you like. It's like a sort of a sponge. Sponge! Coffee. As long as you get coffee, and alternate if you can. If you can't, 2 downs is fine, as long as you get the timing right. So from bar 11 again, then we'll carry on. So T, 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 sponge. Coffee, same again, it's a repeat. T, T, T. And you might find if you linger on that 5 just a little bit longer, get the 2 in place, and then you can get to the 2 and the 5, because I know that's not the friendliest of shapes, but it does sound nice. If you can get that, that's great. If this is completely not open to you guys, it's just not going to happen with your hand, it's just angry at you, then get the 2. The 2's the important note, so you could go, and that's fine. Always, the melody is the most important thing when we're on a mandolin, so don't worry too much if you can't get a nice accompaniment note, it doesn't matter. And you can build towards this anyway. Plenty of Christmases to build towards this. So we're going to go back a bar. So we'll go from the 3rd bar of that line. So here we go. Carrying on. T, 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 T. This is a slightly tricky shape. You can see they're trying to get into it already because we've had an open note before. This is a top tip of mine. If you ever have an open note before something tricky, use the open note to think, where am I going next? And it just gives you a little bit of thinking time because open notes are ultimately easier than having our fingers down. So there we go. Let's go from that bar again. 2, 3, 2, 0. Then we're over to our 5s. And again, look how kind of them. You've got a nice open note to think, where is that 2, 5? And again, if that doesn't serve you, use the melody notes. You could go. Oh. It went into 5. So you could play the 4, is what I'm trying to say, instead of the 2 and the 4 if you don't want to. Or if that's just too much. Just try the 4. And then over here, when we come to our 5s, the 2 is the melody note, not the 5. So basically, if pressing down on 2 different strings is really painful for you, it could be the action on your mandolin. It could be something as, I was going to say as simple as that. It's not that simple. But it could be that, it could be the make of your mandolin. It could just be maybe you've got arthritis or maybe you've got an ache in your hand. So be kind to your hand, stick with the melody note. That's fine. Now, you've probably been concentrating so much you haven't realised you wandered into another bracketed section. But you have. You're into number 1. So this is the first repeat of this section. Or not a repeat if you like, but you know what I'm trying to say. It's the first time you've played that ending of this section. So double dots mean you go back to bar 11, you do all that again. Let's speed it up just quickly. To that point, then we go to number 2. So we're right at the end of the entire piece here, and we're thinking, okay, bunch of 5s. Here we go. And then these are minims again. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, again, a top tip of mine: when you get to this bar, you know you've got a bit of time, so you can hold down these 5s. Look ahead, because you've got a little segno. That's that little S with some dots. It could be a del capo. That would have been a bit more professional, but never mind. I think I did this when I was just getting used to all those kinds of repeat marks, but that's all right. We know what we're saying. So segno, go back to the start, play again, in other words. So we're going to use these 5s. We're going to go right. We're going to use the timing of this one to go, where am I going next? Back up to top. Oh yeah, I got it. You've got to use these sorts of opportunities to navigate, in other words. So you know you've got 2 beats on that final 5. That gives you at least a beat to go, right, 2-0 is next. Okay? Last bar again then, here we go. And I know what you're thinking, oh, she still did the 1, she didn't just go to the 2. Yep, still did the 1. Think of the song, you don't want to cut a verse short. Or a chorus short. And then back up again. Number 2, and we can slow down even more here. Nice. And if you feel particularly fancy, you could alternate your picking on those 2, and you could just have a... just for fun, why not? It's got to be done. After all, this is like your Christmas showstopper, yeah? This is the one that you'll be doing Zoom calls to people on and going, hey, check this out. So you want it to sound nice and jazzy at the end. Well done. I hope that that's been nice and friendly for you, because I wanted you to have a nice friendly carol to work on. I know the 3-4 is a little bit of a pain in the neck, but just take your time on it. Like I said, it's at the end of a phrase. You don't have to rush through that bar. Frankly, it will sound weird if you do. If you go... and you'll likely stumble over it, and you don't want that. Take your time, love your hands, love each other, okay? Thanks for watching. See you all again soon. Bye!